Story 6, Part 24, Shadows Multiply. The night after the first strike, the city was quieter. But only at first glance. From the rooftops, I watched the streets below. Jacob moved with purpose, checking on pockets of awakened citizens. Their faces were lit by the soft glow of prayer, candles, phone screens, even car headlights held like torches of faith. But the pulse was clever. It had learned from its first encounter. The shadows didn't crawl this time, they multiplied. Dozens of them, flickering along the subway walls, pooling at the bases of streetlights, moving through the alleys where the homeless slept, where street vendors packed up for the night. They whispered, low and patient, twisting the minds of the tired, the fearful, the ones who hadn't yet accepted the light. I saw a man stumble near the train tracks. At first, I thought he tripped, but his eyes were gone. Completely empty. And behind him, a shadow slithered up his back like smoke. He didn't scream. He didn't fight. He moved as though his body belonged to something else. Jacob touched my shoulder. "They're learning to possess multiple at once," he said. His voice was calm, but I felt the weight of it. The pulse wasn't just a single entity, it was a network, spreading its control silently, efficiently, like a virus. We moved into the streets. The awakened followed, not in fear, but in resolve. Hands outstretched, voices raised, a chorus of prayer that drummed against the darkness. And it worked, sometimes. The shadows recoiled where faith pressed hardest. A mother shielding her child in a doorway saw the black tendrils retreat, hiss, and dissolve into smoke. A street musician, praying aloud, lit the sidewalk with a radiance that made shadows waver and split apart. But for every shadow that fled, another rose. By midnight, the city itself felt like a battlefield. I could hear the pulse's frustration, an almost human rage simmering in the whispers, the shrieks, the sudden crashes of overturned trash cans and street signs. It wanted fear, confusion, and silence. Instead, it got defiance. Then came the revelation. I was standing in a small square near the river when it hit me, the pulse wasn't acting alone. Something far older, far more patient, was orchestrating all of this. Its presence pressed into my chest, making every breath heavy. Satan. The puppet master behind the pulse. Not just chaos for chaos' sake, but a calculated assault on the hearts of Chicago. I staggered back, but Jacob's hand was on mine. "We already knew," he said quietly. "That's why we fight. That's why God let us see the truth." In that instant, the night changed. A light brighter than street lamps poured over the river, washing over the city. Not harsh, not burning, but penetrating, pure, unstoppable. People stopped. Shadows froze mid-advance. And then we heard it. The voice of God, echoing softly, not in thunder, but in clarity, in understanding, in promise. "This city is mine. Your hearts are my shields. Stand firm, and I will stand with you." Every prayer, every whisper, every act of faith resonated through the streets. The pulse screamed, the shadows recoiled, and the possessed dropped to the ground, gasping, free from the darkness. It was a reminder. A warning. A promise. The pulse would return. Satan would not give up. But God's plan was in motion. Chicago was no longer just a city, it was a crucible. And every awakened soul was a weapon forged in his light. By dawn, the streets were littered with faint trails of smoke, echoes of whispered prayers, and the first glimmers of hope. The battle had only begun.